And who has been the president since January 20th, 2025?
Donald J. Trump.
Okay. And who was the president in 2024?
One believes President Biden.
One believes? Are you one of those non-believers that the election, the American people didn't vote?
I am not.
You're not? You said one believes? Do you believe in the Constitution of the United States? And it should be
I believe in the Constitution of the United States.
So you believe in it without any second thought. You don't have to think about it. You believe in it, and you would abide by it.
Gregory Meeks didn't just question Scott Bessent. He dismantled the economic story Trump's team has been selling. In less than 5 minutes, Meeks exposed how the so-called trade emergency might really be a power grab and why the numbers don't add up.
Mr. Bassett, I'm just a plain, simple man, the average, everyday American is looking at this hearing today. So can you tell me, first, does trade deficits constitute a national emergency?
The hollowing out of the U.S.
No, just yes or no.
Class,
yes or no. Yes or no.
It's a national emergency, sir.
It does. It does. You're telling me trade deficits equals a national or creates
persistent and prolonged.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And do you know also, sir, that for the last 4 decades, we've had trade deficits in the United States of America, and nobody said it was an emergency? Democratic and Republican presidents? You know what that says to me? That it's not an emergency because it hasn't been for 4 decades. It says to me that we should bring tariffs back to the United States Congress so that we can make that determination as the Constitution has said and not try to go around Congress. That's just unbelievable to me. Let me ask this question. Maybe I missed it. Who was the president and who has been the president since January 20th, 2025?
Donald J. Trump.
Okay. And who was the president in 2024?
One believes President Biden.
One believes? Are you one of those non-believers that the election, the American people didn't vote?
I am not.
You're not? You said one believes? Do you believe in the Constitution of the United States? And it should be abided by?
I believe in the Constitution of the United States.
So you believe in it without any second thought. You don't have to think about it. You believe in it, and you will abide by it. Is that correct?
I have and I do, sir.
Okay. But do you know that a president has said he may or may not? He don't know? Let me ask this question. I couldn't believe my ears. Sunday, during NBC's Meet the Press, President Trump credited himself for the strong economy in 2024 when Joe Biden was president, but then he blamed President Biden for a weak economy in 2025 when he was president. Now, I'm not so sure how the American people puts that together. In 2024, strong economy, he tries to take the credit. In 2025, when he's the president, he blames Joe Biden. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't think it makes sense to most Americans. And I hope, Mr. Secretary, you're a businessman, it doesn't make sense to you either. It can't possibly make sense to you. Let me ask this question. If a government, say, look, Argentina, I remember when I came here, and Argentina kept failing to pay its debt. Not once or twice or 3 times. And we were all upset about it, and we said that they needed a host, somebody needed to take over their government. You know, somebody should help the president of Argentina. If the United States or didn't pay its debt or something like that, we'd be very upset about that if we couldn't pay our debt. I mean, that's one of our focuses. Is that not correct?
Sir, the United States will always meet its debt obligations.
Always. Well, let me ask you this. Donald Trump, the deal maker, and you didn't answer Ms. Velasquez's questions, no deals, although he said 3 weeks ago that there would be deals. But Donald Trump, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, but 6 times failed to pay his debts on his business and went bankrupt. And you're going to call that a good businessman?
The gentleman's
I wouldn't
time has
invest in that
expired.
company.
The gentleman's time has expired. The gentlewoman from Missouri, Ms. Wagner, the chair of our subcommittee on capital markets, is recognized for 5 minutes.
I thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I will try to keep my
Gregory Meeks didn't just spar with Scott Bessent, he set up a simple, devastating test. Does the story you're selling match how the economy actually works? That's why this exchange lands. Meeks presses Bessent to call persistent trade deficits a national emergency, then points out we've had them for 4 decades under presidents of both parties without treating them like a crisis. That matters because emergency isn't just a label, it's a legal on-ramp for presidents to bypass Congress on tariffs. The Constitution gives Congress the power over tariffs and taxes. Presidents act because Congress has delegated some authority through laws like Section 232 and 301. Calling everything an emergency is a way to stretch those powers. Meeks' point, if this is really about national security, show the evidence and follow the process. If it's not, bring tariff decisions back to Congress where they belong. The second thread Meeks pulls is credibility. He highlights the contradiction where Trump takes credit for the strong 2024 economy under Biden, then blames Biden for the 2025 economy under his own administration. That's not just a gotcha. Economies have lags. Policy effects often show up months later. If you claim credit for the prior year's growth while disowning the current year's slowdown, you're not explaining, you're spinning. Voters can handle complexity. What they reject is cherry-picking. Meeks then brings up Trump's multiple business bankruptcies. Whatever you think of those restructurings, the political relevance is about risk and accountability. Bankruptcy can be a tool to manage distress. It can also signal aggressive strategies that socialize losses on creditors and workers while protecting owners. In public policy, the who pays question is central, and that leads straight back to tariffs. Tariffs are taxes. They're collected at the border, usually paid by importers, and largely passed through to consumers and downstream manufacturers. In hearings you've seen across this series, members walked through real-world examples: car seats, strollers, semiconductors, and industrial components. When intermediate goods get taxed, costs compound through supply chains. A factory that imports parts pays higher input costs. It either raises prices, cuts margins, delays investment, or trims payroll. That's why economists warn that broad, sudden tariffs can be inflationary and job negative in the short run, even if there are long-run goals like reshoring. There are targeted ways to build capacity: narrow tariffs tied to clear security rationales, time-limited measures, carve-outs for essentials, and, crucially, domestic investment in skills, permitting reform, and infrastructure so firms actually want to build here. Meeks also taps something deeper: trust. If the case for tariffs is national strength, then make it with consistent facts, not emergency rhetoric one day and victory laps the next. If the case is protecting workers, show how the policy helps net exporters and import competing firms without punishing households already squeezed by prices. If the goal is leverage against trading partners, be transparent about the strategy and the exit ramps. Markets and families both plan better when the rulebook isn't rewritten overnight. Here's what's new you can take away from this hearing. First, trade deficit equals emergency is not a neutral economic claim. It's a legal strategy to centralize power. Second, the incidence of tariffs falls not just on foreigners, but across the U.S. economy: consumers, small manufacturers, and exporters who face retaliation. Third, credibility is economic policy. Mixed messages raise uncertainty, and uncertainty is its own tax on growth. If you want a tariff regime that actually strengthens America, it has to be narrow, justified, time-bound, and coupled with a domestic playbook that lowers the cost of building here, faster project approvals, stable rules, workforce pipelines, and competitive energy and logistics. That's how you convert slogans into durable prosperity. What do you think? Are broad tariffs worth the price at the checkout line if they promise more factories over time? Or should Congress retake the wheel and force a more targeted approach? Drop your take in the comments and tell us where you see the costs showing up in your life. If this breakdown helped, tap like, subscribe for more Straight Talk policy explainers, and share this with someone who keeps hearing tariffs without ever hearing who actually pays.